What is going on, everyone? Luca Rosano here, back with another video. Today's video sponsor is Dave & Buster's. Go check out Dave & Buster's VAUGHAN or any Dave & Buster's location if you're in the area to watch the NBA Finals or the Stanley Cup Finals, which are obviously coming up after the conference finals play, and any sporting event at Dave & Buster's. Great times, great food. Dave & Buster's. Let them know that Luca Rosano sent you. In today's video, I want to talk about Donovan Mitchell because Donovan Mitchell's name has been coming up a ton in a lot of trade speculation after Quinn Snyder stepped down as the Jazz head coach pretty unexpectedly. And all of a sudden, there have been a lot of trade rumors. Which teams could potentially try to swing for the fences and land Donovan Mitchell? Let's first start with the Toronto Raptors. Do I think a trade's going to go down? I don't see it happening, which is why this video isn't about the Toronto Raptors. I think the Raptors could maybe make a trade proposal to the Jazz, but like I said in previous videos, I don't think the Raptors are going to make a blockbuster trade. The only way I see them swinging for the fences is if they actually go for a bigger need, which is the center position. And Rudy Gobert, his name has been obviously linked to the Raptors and some other rumors. So as far as this goes, I think the Raptors have a much better chance of landing Gobert rather than Donovan Mitchell. But hey, Donovan Mitchell once wore a classic Vince Carter Raptors jersey at the dunk contest, and I'd be lying if I said I wouldn't want to see Donovan Mitchell on the Raptors, but I'm just being realistic here. A team, though, I do see Donovan Mitchell going to, and I see this team being ultra aggressive and trying to make it happen, the Miami Heat. Yes, I think it's time for the Miami Heat to go all in on Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell has been reported to have the Heat on his list of teams he would be open to playing for if he was to be traded. And going back to the big news on Sunday, Quinn Snyder stepping down and away from the Jazz organization. This was per ESPN's Woj. It was said from Woj that following Snyder's exit, Donovan Mitchell is unnerved and unsettled by Snyder's exit, and Mitchell considered Snyder a significant part of his reasoning for committing to a 5-year maximum contract extension in 2020. And Snyder's decision to step away on Sunday has left Mitchell surprised and disappointed, sources told ESPN. One of the things on Mitchell's mind, according to Woj, is what the coaching change means for the organization. And I quote, Mitchell remains fond of Snyder and accepts his reasons for stepping down, but he's spending the immediate aftermath of Snyder's decision trying to process what the coach's loss means in the larger scope for the organization and himself, sources said. Woj continued. There have been a few teams linked to Mitchell as a potential future landing spot more than others. The New York Knicks have long been considered a possible trade destination for Mitchell, but recently it is the Miami Heat that have been viewed as a more likely suitor. And given the lack of success that the Knicks had last season, it's easier to understand why the Heat, who are coming off of an Eastern Conference Finals appearance, one win away from getting back to the NBA Finals, would be considered the more likely possible trade suitor for the All-Star guard. And even Jake L. Fisher reported that a trade between the Jazz and the Knicks is unlikely, while league sources believe that the Heat are the one team that could offer a better package around Tyler Hero and multiple first-round picks. And actually, that's going to lead me to bring this up. The Salt Lake Tribune proposed a trade that would send Donovan Mitchell to the Heat. Here it is. This might be a lot if you're a Heat fan, but the Heat get Donovan Mitchell, Jazz get Tyler Hero, Max Strus, Duncan Robinson, PJ Tucker, Omar Yurtseven, the number 27 pick in the 2022 draft, the 2024 first-round pick, and a 2027 first-round pick. That's a whole lot. But the Jazz would probably rather have Miami's picks years down the line, such as the 2027 pick, because if the Jazz do trade Mitchell to the Heat, they will expect the Heat to have late first-round picks for the next couple of seasons. But they would hope that as Jimmy Butler ages and the Heat window closes, the Heat would then underperform and send the Jazz better than expected draft picks. It's all about playing the long-term game. And you look at Tyler Hero, who would be involved in this trade proposal, he would be the biggest get for the Jazz in a trade for Mitchell. And the Heat will have to ultimately decide whether Hero can be the fourth best player on a championship-esque team next year, or if he's going to ultimately be a trade chip for a player like Mitchell. But even before his injury in the Eastern Conference Finals, Tyler Hero didn't look the part in the playoffs like he did during the regular season. Now, trading guys like Max Strus and Duncan Robinson would mean that the Heat would have to find and develop another low-cost three-point specialist for next season. So obviously they would have to make up for some of the pieces that they would be giving up in this hypothetical trade. But you look at Donovan Mitchell and what he would mean to the Miami Heat. He could be that piece that puts the Heat over the top in the East. I mean, let's not forget, the Heat were literally a Jimmy Butler made three away from playing in the NBA Finals. So they're not far from making it to the finals, but I do believe they need a guy like Donovan Mitchell. They need another go-to scorer to alleviate a lot of that pressure off of Jimmy Butler. You look at Jimmy Butler down the stretch, he had virtually no help. Kyle Lowry didn't perform to the standard that the Heat thought he was going to perform at. Tyler Hero obviously was injured. He wasn't able to contribute. And some of the other pieces weren't able to make up for the offensive gap that this Heat team clearly had. But you get Donovan Mitchell and all that goes away. And Alan Hahn of ESPN did say that he thinks Pat Riley should give the Jazz a phone call, saying, you talk about a guy that fits in the Heat culture, it'd be Donovan Mitchell. You talk about a guy that could fit with a Jimmy Butler, it'd be Donovan Mitchell. That's the kind of player they've got to find, close quote. And you look at Donovan Mitchell, he would certainly be an upgrade over Strus and an aging Lowry down the stretch. He's a three-time NBA All-Star. Donovan Mitchell averaged 25.9 points in 67 games in 2021, the ninth highest total in the NBA. He also had 5.3 assists and 4.2 rebounds. For comparison, Lowry averaged 13.4 points in 63 games. While the Jazz had a disappointing early playoff exit, they are reportedly not interested in a rebuild, but if they do decide to trade Donovan Mitchell, they got to weigh out their options. And I mean, if Miami can put together a compelling package that does send the likes of a Tyler Hero and some future picks, the Jazz would definitely have to consider that. So if you're the Miami Heat, I would go all in on Donovan Mitchell. There have been a lot of rumors saying that the Heat could get aggressive here, and maybe Pat Riley does go for it all. We know he's no stranger from landing a big-time star. And you look at this Heat team right now, they are in win-now mode. Their window is still open. Jimmy Butler's not getting any younger. You look at some of the other players on this team. This is a team that's in it to win it now. So that being said, you have to go out and make a splash and get a guy like a Donovan Mitchell that could, in fact, get you over the top. So this is a trade to keep an eye out for. I do think if Donovan Mitchell does in fact get traded, Miami is the team that makes the most sense. Miami has been linked to Donovan Mitchell in the past. They even been linked to a guy like Bradley Beal. But this is something that I can see happening if in fact the Jazz do depart from Donovan Mitchell. There's going to be a whole lot of interesting things to look at this offseason, as we don't know what the future of Mitchell's going to be. We don't know what the future of Gobert is going to be. Is that duo finally going to get split up? There could be some other big names that are on the market as well. DeAndre Ayton, it's been said today that he's unlikely to be back with Phoenix. So there's a lot of interesting things to speculate over the course of this NBA offseason as the NBA Finals wind down. But what do you think about Mitchell on the Heat? If you're a Heat fan watching this, would you welcome that? And what are your thoughts on that possibility? And if it's not the Heat, what other teams do you think can get aggressive and try to trade for Donovan Mitchell? Let me know in the comment section down below. Drop a like on the video, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Ring the bell. I'm coming out with NBA content all off season long, so you definitely don't want to miss it. I'll be live streaming Game 3 of the NBA Finals on Wednesday as well, so you don't want to miss that. And that is it. This is Luca Rosano signing off. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all again in the next video.